we have talked about Act 372 in this resolution.
373.
372 is the resolution, not sure.
Carlton, can we get the amendment voted on? Is that something that we?
I have a question about the amendment, and this is, Jim, you authored this resolution. I mean, I'll vote for the amendment if you are good with that. But if you have concerns about the amendment, I'm gonna yield to you on that.
Thank you. Judge, I am not opposed to the amendment, as long as it's very clear that to obtain, for a child to obtain this material, that it would have to be, it would have to be requested by a parent or their legal guardian. As long as that language is in there, I'm not opposed to it.
So amend the amendment then?
I need you to read the amendment again, and I'm going to listen good. All right, go ahead.
Okay. The original amendment is, whereas parents or legal guardians are ultimately responsible for their children's use of the library and for determining appropriate library materials for their respective children to have access to.
And that would come right before the now, therefore. It'd be the last whereas.
Yeah, I mean, you could put it up front, you could put it before, I mean, I would say put it as the third, because then we start talking about the children. It lays it right up in front, here's, so it'll be the third whereas. That would flow with you guys.
And is that clear enough to indicate that these materials need to be stored in a place that is, in a location that is inaccessible to the children unless requested by the parent or guardian? We need to make that very clear and unambiguous.
I'm going to not put you on the spot, but I'm going to. Will Gruber, our county attorney, the language that you just heard, give you reason for pause?
I think it should be good. I've read some of the cases on the subject, and there's one case in particular. It counts for Cedarville School District, and it talks about it's a different type of case, involved a school and Harry Potter books, and one of the things that stood out is it required parental permission. Their policy did. And so was trying to steer clear of things of that nature. I didn't hear anything of what you're saying that would require parental permission, but I think we want to ensure that we wouldn't be directing them to require any parental permission to check out a book.
We would.
Before
We
I
would not want
weigh
to
in,
require parental permission. We wouldn't say that they need to create any policies that require parental permission. But I don't think that Mr. Keck's amendment would require parental permission for a child to check out a book. Sorry to make that less than clear, but I think his language is good. It's just, I interpret it as saying that parents are ultimately responsible for what their children read, but it does not say that, at least the way I interpret it, that parents would have to get permission to check out these, or the parents would have to get permission for their children for these books to be checked out. Is that clear?
so you're saying they're ultimately, go ahead, Mr. Willie, before I.
That will change nothing unless parental or legal guardian consent is required to check out books that contain sexual content, imagery. Then, unless that is required, then nothing changes. And I believe that this material should be stored in a separate place. And that's the only amendment that I would support, is that these materials are stored in a separate place, and a parent or a guardian would be required to give permission for them to view and or check out this material. That's the only amendment that I would support.
Okay, so and I'll just, to the end where it said, for their respective children to have access to, do we want to add where that access is to? A storage, a separate storage area or something like that. Give them that parameter.
It says to an area that is not accessible to children. I think think you need to be careful to say that's the third door on the left in the back of the library.
So it'd be to access, what would be the desire to add access to, Jim, you worked this, so what would be the right term you want to put in there?
Inaccessible to children
Okay.
unless requested and permission given by parent or legal guardian. So a child can't just walk in
Yeah,
and
understand.
view a chicken.
Mr. Gruber?
And just to be clear, I'm saying that we, getting into requiring parental permission could go down a road that I don't think that you would necessarily want to go down. So that's why I think what Mr. Keck is saying, that putting the onus on parents, that it's parents that are ultimately responsible for it. I think, is that your intent?
Yes, mine's just to bring, the library's not responsible for it, the parents are ultimately responsible. I mean, that's a big thing in Arkansas. They want parental choice of schools. They want parental choice of this. Well, guess what? You're ultimately responsible for parental choice of what your kid reads. I mean, that's kind of a challenge if you're a minor.
Do we know if the library requires a parent to check out a book with a child?
We'll get that question answered.
I mean, I think to me,
There's a, and when I say that, I've been told things, but J.P. Billingsley, would you like me to have that question answered right now?
I don't think we need to have it right now. My point was, I think we're trying to, I would like to have more discussion with the library personnel than us sit here and try to make a resolution that may already be, their board may have policies in place, because I believe I know the answer. I don't think a child can check out a book without a parent up to the age of, I believe I was told 12, after 12, I believe. So 13 and up can check out a book. So we're trying to write a resolution that maybe there's already a policy that says a child can't check out a book without a parent present anyways.
Well, right, but checking out and viewing and reading are two different things.
Correct.
If you can go in there and read a book and never check it out. You can go to story hour and have a book read to you. Children in the county have a book read to them and be no parent there.
Right.
My children have done that many things with being taken by babysitters to story hour and whatnot. So the entire nature of the entire nature of this resolution is to limit access to these materials that are sexual in nature to children. And if we just say, well, it's up to the parents, and don't put these things in require no parental permissions, if we can't require parental permissions in order for them to access these materials, then it makes this resolution moot. And so I would not support any amendment to this resolution without there being parental or legal guardian permission.
And I think if I understood right, that's what Mr. Gruber is saying, we can't include that in there. And again, I want to restate that I am in favor of making these, where these books are not accessible even during, reading time at the library. I just wanted to clarify that I'm not sure that this wouldn't be another layer of redundancy saying a parent has to be with the child to check out a book, because I believe that policies are, I don't know that 100%, but I was told that. And so that's why I was asking for clarification if we knew that for sure.
You set up